Hello, welcome to Classical Greek Latin. My name is Josh. I am the teacher for this course. This is Latin lesson number 6, which corresponds to Wheelock's chapter 5. All right, today's lesson is pretty simple. We're going to be learning the future and imperfect form of the verb for the first and second conjugation. Okay, so if you remember, the first conjugation is marked by the right? Let me just write this out for you. So let's see here. All right, so first conjugation, we have our sample verb. Zoom in a little for you. Laudo. And then laudare. We've not covered the third principal part here, laudavi, or the fourth principal part, laudatus, but I'm going to write them out for you. Okay, so this is how any verb is going to appear in the dictionary, right? You have the present active here, laudo, first person singular. And then you have the present infinitive, laudare, right? To praise. So I praise, to praise. And then you have the first person singular, perfect active, I have praised. We're not going to talk about that. I just want you to know what these forms are. And then you have laudatus, which is I have been praised. So it's perfect passive. All right. Forget those last two forms for now. Now you know what they are if you look at them in the dictionary. We'll go over those in more depth later on. Okay. So this is the point here is this is first conjugation. All right. So we know that because if we go to the second principal part, this infinitive here, laudare, and we drop that re, we're left with lauda. Okay. And that tells us this is first conjugation. Okay, so that's going to tell us how to form our verbs. So if you remember, in the present tense, you have first, second, third person singular, first, second, third person plural. It's going to be, remember, O, S, T, and then mus, tis, ns. Okay, so all this OST, mus, tis, nt, is going to stay the same for the future and the imperfect, with a couple of differences that are very easy to learn. Okay, so to fill this in, to make it help you out with the visual, so laudo, and then so the A drops out there, right? Swallowed up by the O, and then laudas, right? So the A is going to be there present in everything here. So let's just put that in here. So as, at, amus, atis, ant, right? So that's the theme vowel, you could say, the and that's what makes it first conjugation. So you have laudo, laudas, laudat, laudamus, laudatis, laudant. Okay? So I praise, you praise, he, she, it praises, we praise, you all praise, they praise. Okay? So let's look at, so that's first conjugation, right? So we're going to deal with first conjugation verbs that are marked by that A, that from the second principal part after dropping the infinitive marker, the re. Let's refresh our minds with the second conjugation. Remember we had moneo, right? So we had moneo, which comes from monere. Okay. Now I'm not particular about long marks, except remember on the ablative singular for the feminine, I like long marks because that helps us tell it apart from the nominative singular, feminine. And also here on the second conjugation infinitive form, I like a long mark on that E there, that A, monere, because that's going to distinguish it from third conjugation later on. So trust me on this. Always do your long marks here on this infinitive so you know it's second conjugation and not third, which we've not learned yet. Okay, so, and again, we have not learned these third and fourth principal parts yet. I'm just going to write them out, mon nuit, and then monitus, okay? Same principle here. Laudavi, laudatus, mon nuit, monitus, but you can forget about that for now and just focus on these two first principal parts. That's all we need for now. Okay, so again, monere, that's our infinitive, to advise, to admonish, to warn, right? So we drop the re. We're left with mone, which is the root of this verb, and our theme vowel is going to be the a here, or the e in English. So let's do the same thing we did above with laudo. We'll do it here with moneo. First, second, third person singular. First, second, third person plural. All right. Now we're going to add our endings here. ost. Get this better center. There we go. Then we have again mus, tis, nt. All right. So these are our endings. ost, I, you, he, and then we, you, all, they. All right. So now let's put in our theme vowel. Now, unlike first conjugation, second conjugation, you're going to keep that a here. Okay. And then we're going to just put that theme vowel all the way through, just like so. All right. And then we'll put the root of the word in now. Moneo, mones. So mon, monet, mon, monemus, monetis, monate. Okay. So what we're learning today, what page are we on? Page 40. This is all present tense. I advise, you advise, he advises. Now we're going to learn the future and the imperfect, okay? So we'll do the future first. The future is marked by this be. That's future, okay? And if you always translate as will or shall, something to be done in the future, you're going to be safe, okay? Normally people don't use the word shall anymore in modern English. We just use the word will, but shall is still fun to use on occasion. So use both if you like. But be is going to be the marker of the future. Okay, so if you're looking at page 40, you can see these charts, but let me write them out for you. So we'll do first conjugation first. We'll do laudo, laudare, all right? So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, first, second, third person. 1, 2, 3, first, second, third person, and let's mark singular and plural so we're clear. Okay, and we're going to do laudare. All right, so we're going to take, that's our infinitive form, right? Second principal part. 1, 2, second. That's our infinitive form. We take that, drop the re, maintain the theme vowel, so we have lauda. Okay, and you're going to take that, loud, 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 okay? And now we want this future, so we're going to take be, and we're going to put that in every form here, except two places. All right, so we're going to go bis, beat, bimus, betis. Now when we get to, we're going to want to say beant, right? Because we have to add that nt, right, for the third person plural. But when you get an I next to a nasal like an N, it's going to change to a U, right? And this goes back to the idea that E, that is I in English, and U really go back to a single sound, U, right? So they kind of evolve back and forth into each other. So we're going to say lauda, not beans, but boons. Okay, they will praise. Hasn't happened yet. They will do it. All right. And then here in the first person, very similar to what we did up here, right? The ah was swallowed up by the o. The ah was swallowed up by the o. We're going to have something very similar here. we're going to say lao da bo. Okay? So it's not lao da bio. Okay, so you would, if we're adding B, you might expect it to be lao da bio, but it's actually lao da bo. I will praise. So this first person singular and third person plural for the future are unexpected. All right? Otherwise, everything is expected. You're just taking the B and adding the endings st, mus, tis, and then und, third person plural, and then just o for bo for first person singular. All right? So I show you what is the same and the two things that are different, right? First person singular, third person plural, to assist you in memorization, to help you memorize it more quickly. But go ahead and memorize that. That's the future. So this is future, abbreviated with FUT, future. Now let's do imperfect. Okay. And now I abbreviate imperfect with IMPERF, and I add the F on there instead of just writing IMP, because I don't want to confuse it with the imperative, right? So I always add the F there just to clarify. All right, so let's do this now. We'll do first conjugation again for laudare. Okay, so we'll do laudare again. And let's do this singular, plural. Let me move this up so you can see. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, the imperfect marker is ba. So, imperfect means it was happening in the past, but it's not happening anymore. Okay. So it was. So if you translate the imperfect as just was, you'll be safe. All right. So example, my roommate in college was Chinese. Okay. He's still Chinese today, but he's no longer my roommate. Right. So the roommate part it's imperfect, meaning it was accomplished in the past, but didn't continue to the present. Right. Because he went on elsewhere. I went on elsewhere. He was my roommate. He no longer is, all right? But he is still Chinese. Okay, and a good friend, but I digress. All right, let's see here. So laudare, to praise. Now we want to say, I was praising, you were praising, he was praising, we were praising, you all were praising, they were praising, okay? You notice the English word was versus were, irregular verb. Okay, but let's do this. So we're going to say, now this is easier. Let's put ba in here. So we're just going to add ba, 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 ba. Okay. The only weird thing here is going to be first person singular. You would expect this to be o, like ba o or bo, but that's going to get confusing with the future, right? So we need something to distinguish this, so we're going to say bam. And that is first person singular. I was loud, and then you have your theme vowel, laudabam. I was praising, okay? So now let's go through and just add the theme vowel, because that's going to be here all the way through. Okay? And now let's just add our endings, right? We have, up here we had OST, mus, tis, und. The only thing that's different here is the O. We're using the M instead. So it's going to be and then everything else as you would expect. ST, mus, tis, und. And now the A with an N is perfectly okay. So that A can stay as it is. All right, and let's just add the root of the word here. So laudabas, laudabat, laud, gap there, excuse the gap, laudabamus. This is correct. I know that's visually awkward, but forgive me. Laudabatis, laudabant. Okay? And again, these forms are on page 40 of your book. So laudabam, I was praising. I'm not doing it anymore. I was doing it in the past. Not anymore, not now. Laudabas, you were praising. Laudabat, he or she was praising. Laudabamus, we were praising. Laudabatis, you all were praising. Laudabant, they were praising. Okay. This is pretty easy. Let's flip the page to page 41. And I'm not going to write this out for you again, but the second conjugation, remember, moneo, second conjugation, moneo, monere, with that long mark over that E to tell us it's second conjugation and not the third, which we have yet to learn. All right, monere, second conjugation. That theme vowel there, the A, is going to stay present throughout. Okay? So in the future, let's do the future first. So you have, just like we had lauda, bo, now we have monet, bo. So we have monet, monet, monet. Okay? They do their singular plural on top of each other, which is fine. You have monet, monet, monet. Okay? Then the endings are going to be the same. You're going to say bo, bis, beat. Bimus, bitis, boons, boons, boons. Not beat, boons. Okay? The endings, bo, bis, beat, bimus, bitis, boons, are the same in the second conjugation as they are in the first conjugation, right? So, bo, bis, beat, bimus, bitis, boont. Bo, bis, beat, bimus, bitis, boont. The only difference is here you have the theme vowel A coming from the second conjugation versus here with laudabo, you have the theme vowel A coming from the first conjugation. And we know it's first conjugation because of the A. We know it's second conjugation because of the long A, the E in English. Okay? All right, so that's your future. So I shall advise, or warn. Okay? And onward. Pretty basic stuff. All right, now let's do the imperfect. Again, exactly the same as the first conjugation. Bam, bas, bat, bam, bas, bat, bamus, batis, bant. Except you have the theme vowel long A. E in English, okay? So make sure you're looking at this visually so you're not confusing your vowels between Latin and English. Okay, so just as in first conjugation, you had the A, right? Abam, abas, abat, abamus, abatus, abatis, abant. Here you have ebam, ebas, ebat, ebamus, ebatis, ebant, right? And then monet bam, monet bas, monet bat, monet bamus, monet batis, monet bant, right? I was advising, you were advising, he was advising, we were advising, you all were advising, they were advising. Okay? Pretty basic stuff. Be, future. Ba, imperfect. Future, I will, I shall. Imperfect, I was, or you were. All right? So go ahead and read the chapter. But that's about it for the verb. Pretty straightforward, this lesson, pretty simple, which is why they throw in this adjective form, right? Because they realize this is pretty simple stuff. All right, so let's look at this adjective here. The only thing they're telling us here is that to be aware of when a vowel drops out, namely in liber, or does not drop out, like in liber, liberi, right? So this is the word means free. It's an adjective, so therefore it can be in the masculine, feminine, or neutered form. But sometimes, like with pulcher, that E will drop out when you drop down into the genitive and beyond, right? So just memorize these words that when that E in the nominative does not drop out, as in liber, liberi, liber, libero. So this is not libri. This is liberi, right? Libero. All right. And then the forms, we'll look at the forms in the back of the book on page 496 here in a second. But that's all this is about. Adjectives have to match the noun that they're modifying in case, number, and gender, right? That's why every adjective is available in both numbers, singular or plural, any gender, masculine, feminine, neutered, and any case, right? So, but yeah, so liber, the E stays through, and then your endings are all the same. E, O, we'll look at that in a second. A, I, a, E, O, and so forth, right? Pulcher, which means beautiful, the E drops out when it goes to the genitive and beyond. Or you could say the E is inserted, right? So instead of adding us, instead of saying pulcrus here, it's just pulcher, right? And, so yeah, there's no us there. Maybe that's the best way of thinking about it, because here in the feminine you do have what you would expect as pulcra, right? Pulcrum. But in the masculine singular, nominative singular masculine, where you would expect pulcrus because of pulcri, it actually becomes pulcher, right? So the A or E is inserted there rather than adding on the us for the nominative singular masculine, which is what we're used to. And since we're not used to that here, they're laying it out, spelling it out for us. Okay, so, and then here, again, you're not adding the us, you're just saying liber. You're not saying liberus, it's just liber. But here, that E or the A is maintained. I think that's pretty straightforward. It really is very simple, and maybe that's why I'm wondering if I'm explaining it well, because it's so simple. But let's go to page 496 real quick. And it's good to just look at this and see what it looks like. Because you probably have your charts and your declensions memorized by now, your first and second declensions. But when you get weird words like this, it is helpful just to see them spelled out for you in all their forms. So they do that back here. So they do all the cases for you: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. You can see that. So on page 496, right? So they have the cases here for us. Now for these three words that we're talking about, or these two words, yeah, just two words here: libad and then pulcad, free and then beautiful. They're giving us just the singular form. Now, they could have, spent an extra penny and printed the plural form also. But again, they're assuming this is so straightforward and redundant. They did not print the plural form. And they just give us a note down here, number 2 note. Right? Let's see if I can get this to focus. There you go. The plural follows the pattern of the singular, except that it has the plural endings. Okay? So they're saying it's going to look exactly like the singular, except it's going to have the plural endings, right? So you're going to have the nominative here is going to be the same, so different, that is. So nominative singular for liber is liber, but the plural nominative is going to be liberi, right? Remember, the nominative plural looks like the genitive singular. This is true of the masculine and the feminine alike. But otherwise, everything's going to be the same, right? It's going to be, here you have for the genitive E, dative O, accusative ablative O, the singular. And then in the plural, it's going to be the E, the letter I for the plural nominative. But then the genitive is going to be orum and is, os, is, like you're accustomed to, like we've seen already. All right. And then your feminine is going to be just I, arum, is, as, is in the plural, right? So write that out. It'll be good practice for you to write that out and to see it. And I will write that out in the supplement lesson on Patreon. If you'd like to see that written out, in addition to having the answers to the exercises, head over to Patreon. The link is in the comments or in the description below. And it's $10 a month, and we cover all the exercises, the answers, and we do little extra stuff like this from time to time. But yeah, go ahead and write out the plural on your own just to familiarize yourself with it. And that's about it. Otherwise, nothing really new as far as adjectives go. We already have a pretty good idea how to handle adjectives. So let's take a quick look at vocabulary. Get back to where we're at here. Yeah, chapter 5. Okay, so that's that. So vocab. All right, so if you read this bit over here, they talk about the words satis and nihil. Okay. Basically, what they're saying is these words are indeclinable, meaning that you don't know if it's being used as a nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, or ablative, except from the context. Okay. And let's see here. And these words, they're very versatile. So let's see here. In fact, as it can be function not only as a noun, satis that is, when it is often construed with a genitive, as in satis pecunia, enough of money, but also as an adjective, meaning sufficient, and even as an adverb, sufficiently. Okay? They talk about igitur. This is listed in your vocabulary. This is somewhat redundant because they explain this in the vocab list, but yeah, satis, indeclinable. It's always going to be satis. You don't add endings to satis. Same thing with nihil. You don't add endings to nihil. But they can function in all the cases, okay? So they can function in the nominative case and whatnot, and but you're not going to see case endings. Okay, so vocab list. Go ahead and, again, work on your vocab. I like flashcards. But there's your vocab list. And is there anything special here? There's that word satis they're talking about. So indeclinable noun, adjective, and adverb. It means enough, sufficient, or sufficiently. They give you some English derivatives from this word. Satiate, insatiable, whatnot. Igitur, there's igitur, they mentioned that. Okay, conjunction post-positive. And that just means post-positive. Post means after. Posit means to set down. So it just means that this word is typically set down after the first word of a sentence, right? It means therefore, consequently. All right. Keep in mind when you come across prepositions like propter, you have preposition plus accusative. So that means on account of something in the accusative case. All right. So work on that. That is your lesson number 6 for Wheelock chapter 5. And then here's your exercises. So work through those. I will have the answers on Patreon for you. And then Sanctentia Antiqui, you can do those, and I will also provide the answers to Sanctentia Antiqui. All right. So that's that. There's this extra history, reading, culture stuff, if you are so inclined and interested to read that. And then our next lesson will be over chapter 6. Okay. All right, that's that. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that made sense. Hope that was simple enough. And if you have any questions, put those in the comments below. But again, this was Latin lesson number 6 for Wheelock chapter 5. And answers are soon to follow on the Patreon page. All right. Thank you and have a good day.